It is Sunday, September 2nd, 2012, and these guys have been with us for a while. Matter of fact, they've been with us since April at an Earth Day event. See that guy right at the surface? I'll explain that in a second. Got them from our friends with the Spring Island Institute. They had a table near ours, and they were going to be releasing these guys, and I thought it would be neat to have them here. Now, what some of them have learned is if they swim upside down and go to the surface, they will be given some food. And waiting for want them to do that. There we go. This guy's coming up now. And just give him, well, there you go. Let me go ahead and, oh, I missed that. It's down next to them. Of interest is this guy here. I say guy, I haven't checked to see whether it's a male or a female. You can see it's about to get a piece of food right there in front of it. Boom, it's on it. Now what's interesting is right next to it, I think this may be its empty molt shell. Right here. Now, is this the animal that molted last night? No, I don't think so. Two reasons. I can see now clearly this empty molt shell is larger than this horseshoe crab is. And also it seems a little early for this animal to be up and feeding if it just molted last night. But we do have an exoskeleton here that I'll be removing from the tank for display, and buried somewhere down in the sand is the young horseshoe that molted. These two here, they're hungry right now. These animals are up and feeding. Also in the tank back here is where I'm pointing. That is a moon snail, and we'll be talking about the moon snail at another time. But I wanted to introduce this tank and shoot this because we've got this exoskeleton right here, and we'll be following these guys more in the future. One of the things that's of interest is how they've learned, a trick they've learned for feeding. So we'll see that another time. Well, this was unexpected. Here, I'm almost certain you see dredging through the sand right there. I'm almost certain this is our newly molted horseshoe crab. You can see the difference in color. He hasn't even developed his color yet. And also of interest, going on at the same time, is right here in the corner. Apparently the food that I put in the tank has awakened the moon snail, and just cut this off for a moment and go get the food again. You'll get to see this guy feed. Alright, now this is really quite something. I wasn't sure I was going to be able to keep this animal because there was no way that I would be able to go to the beach often enough, or even if I were able to go often enough, that I would be able to find the species of bivalves and snails that this animal normally feeds on. I've been very fortunate in that it will scavenge feed, and I'm trying to get him to take this piece of shrimp. He won't eat the fish, or it won't eat the fish that the horseshoe crabs feed on. I'll get that guy out of the way. But it will eat shrimp. And I'm trying to get it to take the shrimp, but it's not cooperating. You will observe how the mantle of the snail comes up and partially surrounds the shell when it's moving. Well, if it's not going to take the food, I can't make it. One thing I've observed is that the sensitive part is on the underside of the foot. Here we see our, let me just move this slightly here. I'm pointing again, right, get out of here. Get these other guys away. Here we see, again, right there, I know it's difficult to see, but that's our newly molted horseshoe crab. Considerably larger than he was. Let me see, turn this guy, see if we can get him. Alright, right there, oops, right there, what I'm pointing at now, that's the sensitive part. That's where they can really feel or taste their food. And I've got the scent of shrimp on the knife that it's reacting to. You see how it's grabbed a hold of the knife? Let me zoom out a bit and see if I can direct this animal to the piece of shrimp that I put in for it. See if he'll get a hold of it there. There, it's reaching, grasping. It now has the food. And it will wrap itself up and engulf that food, that piece of shrimp, and then the proboscis will emerge and eat it. So, it wasn't until a later date when I came back to film this again. Here we see all our little horseshoes are quite active. I put food in for these guys. They all woke up, emerged from beneath the sand, and in a day or so we should see our new large guy who's still buried down there in the sand, up and active with the rest. Quite interesting. Here we see the moon snail working to turn itself back over again, working to right itself. And I'm going to point out where the head is, right underneath there. You see one of those that little pointy thing right there? That's part of the head. Let me just see if I can give this animal an assist. Well, it's stuck its foot down into the sand, and it's seeking to rebury itself in the sand. It doesn't need my assistance. All the activity going on around it, all those horseshoe crabs, let me back up a little bit again. All those horseshoe crabs smell the piece of shrimp that the moon snail was given. And apparently they'd rather have shrimp than the old fish pieces it was given also. Here you see the moon snail burying itself down in the sand. Escaping the harassment of all the little horseshoe crabs bungling around it, seeking a little peace. Well, just can't get away from this video. Here, back at the tank, there we see the newly molted horseshoe crab. And just to give you an idea of the difference in size, let me again pull back. And you can see how much larger this animal is than the other guys. Now, he was one of the larger ones in there anyway, but that's quite an amount of growth on a single molt. There, now we'll call this to an end, I think.